There was this 103-year-old man that they interviewed very briefly. You can find the video on YouTube if you want. And they asked the advice of this man what to do best in life. He was 103 years old, so people thought, okay, he survived 103 years on the earth. Most people died long before the age of 100, so what is advice for other people? And you know what the guy said? Or the guy, well, that older man said, stop asking for advice and go out to do something. Everything you do in life is a risk. Raising a family, having children, it's all a risk. Learn to take risks. That is what it came down to. And he still had an active attitude, even though he was 103 years old. You may think, he's 103 years old, so, you know what? He's about to die anyway, so let him just relax. But here's the thing. He was relaxing, but he still had this active attitude in him, as if he was young. So, that got me excited that this 103-year-old told people just go out there and do stuff. Now, he was not suggesting that you have to go out there and be dumb and waste your money and get yourself in trouble. He wasn't saying that. He was just saying that everything in life is a risk. He was talking about gambling. When you gamble, you put yourself in harm's way, knowing that you likely will lose. That's gambling. No, when you take a risk, you measure the outcomes, and you choose an outcome that you want, but even if that outcome does not work, you still have another outcome that will benefit you. So that's what risking is. And in line with that, I wanted to use two historical examples of two ancient leaders to inspire you. You had Arminius, who was a prince of a Germanic tribe who grew up in Rome, and he had a military career, and he even became the secretary of the Roman governor that became the governor of Germania, which was ancient Germany. Now, Arminius saw how the Romans mistreated his own Germanic people, and he revolted against Rome, and he led 3 legions, that's over 30,000 men, into a forest, and the Germanic troops killed them. Now, the Roman military consisted out of around 300,000 men. So if 30,000 were gone, that's 10%. So there was a very big loss to the Roman Empire. This happened in 9 AD. I believe it's called the Teutoburg Forest. It's a historical place. You can still visit it. But there's not much of the ancient forest left, of course. But, okay, so that happened. Now, what happened after Arminius' victory? He got in conflict with the other Germanic tribes because Arminius wanted a united Germania. He wanted the Germanic people to be united as a strong economic and political bloc against the Roman world. Because he saw that if the Germanic tribes kept on fighting and rivaling with one another, they would be weakening themselves unnecessarily. And Rome depended on that. And remember, Arminius grew up in Rome. He knew how the Romans thought, and he knew the secrets of Roman expansion. He was an experienced military man and an experienced politician. So Arminius made his tribe independent from Roman rule. The rest of Germania also was independent of Roman rule. But there were Germanic princes of those Germanic tribes that were cooning towards the Romans. So 12 years after Arminius' victory, Arminius was killed in a conspiracy. And before that, his wife was kidnapped to Rome and all of that. He went through a lot of trouble. Now, what did Arminius do wrong? Arminius kept on investing in a unified Germania, even though it became obvious that it was not a good idea. First of all, Arminius' tribe was located near the Rhine River, and ancient Germania was quite big, going all the way to the Danube River and all of that. So, if you have a lot of those tribes in the east not complying, then you can forget about the united Germania. And here's the thing, in order to have a united Germania, you need to have a strong economy. And Arminius' tribe was located near the Rhine River. So why didn't Arminius invest in a fleet on the Rhine River? Why didn't he build his own small navy? He had the cash. He had the loot from the Romans. He could have done it. Built a small navy that could navigate on the Rhine River. Built also another fleet that can transport goods on the Germanic rivers all the way to Scandinavia and all of that. And you already have an economic infrastructure. And later, after that, you can build roads and all of that. So Arminius could have invested in economy instead of pushing for unified Germania. If Arminius would have invested in economy, his tribe would become more economically relevant, and eventually the other Germanic tribes would have no choice but to follow the lead of Arminius' tribe. But Arminius invested a lot in unifying the Germanic tribes, even though it was obvious that it wasn't a feasible idea. And here's the thing, the Germanic tribes remained divided. The Roman Empire passed away. You had the Middle Ages that came. You had the colonial era, and all the way in 1870 that the German peoples, except the Austrians, united in the German Empire. Okay? And they used Arminius' vision to do it. Why was it that Arminius in ancient times could not unify the German people, but in 1870 Otto von Bismarck was able to do it? Very simple. Otto von Bismarck looked at the bigger picture. Otto von Bismarck realized that in order to have a unified empire, you need to have a strong economy. And here's the thing, Arminius was successful in shutting down Rome's military occupation, but he was successful in replacing Rome's military occupation with a strong economy. That's where he failed. If Arminius had a strong economy, then the other Germanic tribes would have thought, you know what? There may be some good thing in that unified Germania. You know what? Let's join that confederacy and we'll see. Arminius was purely focused on getting rid of the Romans, but not on replacing the Romans with something better. Okay, so let's talk to another ancient leader of the same century. Arminius died in the year 21. Okay, so in the 60s of the first century, there was this other leader, Civilis, and Civilis was a Batavian leader. He was a client chieftain or client king of Rome. And eventually, when there was a crisis in the Roman Empire, he revolted together with his tribe, the Batavians, and together with the other smaller Germanic tribes around. And they marched near the Rhine River and they defeated both the Roman navy that was operating at the Rhine as well as, I believe, 2 legions. By doing this, they shut down the economy of the Roman Empire in the West. And that was a big problem. And because of that, the Roman emperor that won the civil war of the Roman Empire went into negotiation with him, and the Batavi tribe remained part of the Roman Empire. They got their own autonomy as a client kingdom. And after that, Civilis just vanished. He just withdrew himself completely from public life. He achieved autonomy for his people. He achieved an economic better position for his people, and after that, he withdrew himself. He did not campaign for any political reforms anymore after that. Now, Civilis, his rebellion took place in, I believe, the year 69, which is 60 years after Arminius' victory in the Turnberg forest. Those 60 years are 3 generations. So 3 generations later, you had another Germanic leader that also revolted against Rome, but this one attacked the economic heart of Rome in the west, which was the colony on the Rhine River. That's something Arminius did not do. So Civilis was more advanced in his planning. And when Civilis got what he wanted and what was beneficial for his people, he withdrew himself. He did not bother with those other tribes around him. He did not crave independence. He craved for autonomy because he realized that as part of the Roman Empire, there were benefits for his people. Now, what is the big difference between Arminius and Civilis? It's very simple. Arminius was mainly focused on getting rid of the occupation of the Romans, which was oppressive to his people. Rightfully so. I agree with him. Arminius had his education in Rome. He even traveled throughout the Roman Empire as a military officer, so he had experience as a military man as well as a politician. So he knew what he was doing. However, Arminius did not think far ahead in thinking, okay, once I get rid of the Romans, what will I do for my people then? How are we going to have a strong economy afterwards to keep us away from Rome's grip? Civilis, who grew up within the Roman Empire, who heard about Arminius' defeat of the Roman legions, which was an embarrassing history, he realized that he had to do far better. And that's why he negotiated with Rome after he defeated them. And that's the thing, Arminius did not negotiate with Rome after defeating those legions. Arminius just killed the legions, 30,000 men, and he just left it at that. He did not seek any diplomacy with Rome afterwards. And it was a bit naive of him to think that the Romans would just let that happen. Okay? Well, Civilis defeated the Roman legions, but he did not slaughter all of them. He held some of them hostage and demanded negotiations. And because he sought for negotiations, there was a mutual benefit, a benefit for Rome and a benefit for the Batavi. The Romans wanted the Batavi to remain in the empire because the Batavi brought forth a lot of strong young men that would serve in the military. So the Batavi had something Rome needed, and Rome had something the Batavi needed. So Civilis looked at the mutual benefit, and he chose what was best in the long term for his people. Now, Arminius was not wrong for wanting to kick the Romans out. He did the right thing, but he did not have a long-term vision to deal with the long-term challenges that would come. And it was later he realized that the real problem was not the Romans, but the cunning of the Germanic tribes. The Germanic tribes hated him far more than the Romans did. When he killed off those 30,000 men, Rome didn't even dare to invade Germania again. But those other Germanic tribes, instead of celebrating Arminius, they became jealous and envious and tried to sabotage him. Some of those other Germanic tribes, after Arminius died, even willingly became client kingdoms of Rome and allowed the Romans to build military bases in their homelands. So, Civilis learned from all of this, and he was straightforward. My people need to benefit. Give us autonomy and a better economic position. That's it. So, that's the difference between the two of them. I'm not saying Arminius was wrong, okay? But his long-term plan was not there. Civilis had a long-term plan. So be inspired by this. You need to know when to withdraw yourself. Once you achieve what you wanted, or once you achieve what's needed, withdraw yourself. Okay? But before you even start with your campaign, think about when you need to withdraw. Of course, we as believers, we're led by the Holy Spirit. I'm not telling you to figure everything out with your own human strength, no. But realize, once you go to achieve something, there is going to be resistance. There is going to be retaliation. So realize that you need to anticipate retaliation. And once you achieve what you wanted, once you achieve your goal, learn to withdraw yourself in peace. Don't linger around on the battlefield after your victory, because that will trigger other unnecessary wars against you. The same in daily life. Once you achieve your objective, withdraw yourself in peace. Because by withdrawing yourself in peace, nobody can accuse you anymore. If you just disappear without saying anything, people are going to be full shock, and then they can use it against you. But withdraw yourself in peace. Learn to do that, because if you linger around after you achieved your goals, it's going to lead to dangerous situations. Well, that's it for now. Keep it on green with Christ and be at peace.